My mother likes to tell this story. She tells us about summers at her uncle's farm in the Chinese countryside, the smell of afternoon porridge, cousins lining up for pieces of crispy baked rice that caked the bottom of the clay pot. But most of all, she tells us about the dog. She loved him in that simple yet genuine way that a child loves. She played with the dog every day, ran her hands through his matted hair as he bounded through the coarse grass of the farmlands. Each morning, she would go out to the chicken coops with the dog to collect eggs from under the warm chests of their mothers and feed the ducks the leafy choy choy that her aunt grew in the garden. And each morning, she would find that one had gone missing. One hen's nest would be empty, barren, as if its inhabitant had simply vanished into the night. My mother thought very little of this. She did not think much about the dinner from the night before, chicken steamed and shining with soy sauce. Nor did she think about how Chinese tradition demanded one to give the best they had to their guests. Her uncle's family had no money, no fine clothes or toys to share. All they had was meat, rare as it was, to offer, and offer they did. One by one, ducks disappeared from the swimming hole and chickens from their nests. During the day, my mother still left them food, willing them to come home. By the last evening, the rice stores were exhausted. The vegetables were too wilted to eat. Worse still, there was no meat left, no animal left to be offered. Just before dinner, the adults rounded up the children and sealed them behind the heavy brick of the main house. The cousins shoved and pushed to get a view, watching the adults run around to the eerie staccato beat of the dog's playful yips. My mother watched her uncle tie a thick rope around his neck. Confusion fell into panic as the dog's barks turned into whimpers, and she realized that the flash of gray in hands was a metal pipe, rusty and pitted on the ends. Screams, the kind that my mother had no idea a dog could make, scrambled together with the ugly sound of metal hitting flesh, crushing bone, snapping tendon. My mother was too young to know death, the astonishing cruelty of it, but when she heard the screech of the pipe, the shrieks of pain, she understood. All she could do was stare as the screams crescendoed, then sank into nothingness beyond it. And what did they do with it, with the dog, I ask, because I am young, naive. They ate it. Why? Because we were hungry. Because there was nothing else to eat. So, my mother likes to tell this story, but I don't like to hear it. They say that every stereotype has a grain of truth to it, and this story provides the ugly evidence. When I am asked whether or not my family really does eat dogs, what can I say? My family will never eat dogs of their own volition, but the facts of that story cannot be changed. There was a dog, a beloved family pet, and then there was a soup, thin broth with stringy, tough meat. It is essential to remember how my uncle whispered prayers and apologies as he secured his dear pet to the shed, how my mother refused dinner that night, opting to go hungry because of her innocent love for that dog. And so, whenever I am faced with this question, to which I can answer with the dishonest truth or the truthful lie, I bite my tongue, laugh, and say no, my family does not eat dogs.